Hi folks, I just wanted to give you kind of an update on what we do here for nighttime lighting. We have a variety of lights being out here in the country. We don't have any other street lights around us, of course, so we can't rely on any kind of public lighting. And we do want it to be dark here in nighttime so you can do things like see the stars and just enjoy the evenings sometimes. But we do need some basic lighting so that you can see what's going on at night. And in our house, of course, we've got motion sensor lights and floodlights around the house should we need that for security for the house. But just in general, when we come home or we just want to look out and see what's going on outside, we just have these outside lights. This is one on this side of the barn, and I have another one over here. Let's see if I can get this to you pretty quickly here. There, I have one on that side of the barn. I know because this is a nighttime video on here, it's probably darker than it seems. But we wanted enough light here so that we could see out, but it didn't need to be so bright that it just made it daylight. That wasn't necessary. We're not in a high crime area, and we've got flashlights if we need them too. So what I used to have in these two locations on the barn was the high pressure sodium light. That's the yellowish colored dusk to dawn light that you're probably familiar with. And those weren't bad. They lasted me a number of years. I replaced a few of them over the course of years. They were cheaper than the mercury vapor, the old blue whitish colored ones. The high pressure sodium were 70 watt bulbs, so they weren't real expensive to run, and they're wired, direct wired into the barn, into the panel box in the barn. They'd kick on at dusk and kick off at dawn, which wasn't bad. The photo sensors sometimes would go and they wouldn't work properly, but you just replace those. But in the last few years, LED technology has improved to the point that I've, if you want to call it, upgraded to these LED lights. These actually are about 3,500 lumens a piece, so the amount of light that they put out is just about the same as I was getting from the high pressure sodium. But the electricity use is half. They're the equivalent, each one is the equivalent of a 35 watt incandescent light bulb. So for 70 watts of light, I'm getting what I used to need 140 watts of light with the high pressure sodium before. So my electric bill has been reduced by that amount, and especially for these that are going to be burning several hours a night, and now that we're heading into the fall and into the winter, they'll run longer hours, of course, than in the summer. So we'll see how these work out for us. I've had them in for, I want to say, maybe a year each, or a year and a half, and then a year. I didn't put them both in at the same time. But I did get them online from Amazon, I think. I can't remember the company's name. Online from Amazon, they were cheaper than I could get in the big box home improvement stores. It's not that they didn't have them, but they were pricier. I can't remember if these cost somewhere around $60 a piece or so. Maybe they're even cheaper now. And they had a variety. You could get more luminous ones, ones that shed a whole lot more light, or even less light if you wanted. They're the LED diodes. They don't have bulbs that you can replace, so that when the unit goes, basically it's done. I think they're supposed to be guaranteed for 5, 6, 7 years. I don't know. We'll see how they do. That's about the amount of life that I got out of the high pressure sodium units, so I had to replace them too because other internal things went wrong. They weren't hard to install. It's just 2 wires. It's 110 volts with the LED. It's a lower voltage than, you know, a 220 line or whatever, but the same voltage as the high pressure sodium, so I didn't need to do any rewiring. The wires were right there. Just basically black to black, white to white, and ground to ground. The mounting brackets, you had a couple options. They weren't hard to mount. This one here on the by the barn door, just, it's a triangular mounting plate. You just run 3 screws into the wood, and you know, that's it. Then it clamps on that way. The other one, I had a a mounting tube already there, so I just had to slide it over and secure it. So putting them up wasn't difficult at all. And they've been working for me. I haven't had any trouble whatsoever with them in the time I've had them. Now, you know, ask me again in a couple of years, who knows for sure, because the LED technology is fairly new for consumers. But for the price that I paid for them, the 60 a piece is a bit more than I think the high pressure sodium would cost me today. Probably maybe $20 more a light. I can't remember. It's been a while since I bought the other kind. But it wasn't exorbitantly expensive. I mean, LED prices have come way down. So over the course of the lifetime, I expect to save that in electricity. Again, as I said, the light output's about the same. It's this white LED light as opposed to the yellow tint of the high pressure sodium. So the you know, the light out here is a whiter light. And it's definitely bright enough. Again, it's hard for you to see here on this this video because I'm shooting out in the dark, just trying to show you the light output. But I can see well enough to see what's around me here. If at night there'd be something here in the, you know, in the barnyard, I could look out the window and see something there. If there was an animal there or what have you, or if a vehicle parked here, whatever the case. So it's adequate for our needs, and it's very energy efficient, and hopefully it'll be long lasting. So just a tip for you if you want to save some money. Yeah, you have the little investment of putting the LED fixture up, but once you have it up, then hey, you know, it's there. So while I'm talking about that, I know I'm walking through the dark here. I can see where I'm going even if you can't see me. One thing that I did here, I'm walking by the chicken coop here, because I didn't want the backside of the coop to be real dark so that predators could kind of approach without being seen that they could in the dark. I bought a real cheap solar powered LED. Let's see if it'll kick on when I come around here. It should. I'll make them. Oh, there it goes. It's a solar powered LED light. The solar panel is around the corner of the coop here. It faces south and recharges, but this is also a motion sensor light, and it's bright enough that, oh, if a critter gets within maybe 30-40 feet of the coop, it'll kick on, so it'll hopefully startle, surprise them, keep them away. Just a little extra security to keep the chickens safe from raccoons or possums or fox or what have you. But, and again, this doesn't really cost me anything because it's solar powered. I think it was $25–30 at Harbor Freight a year or so ago when I put it up. So it's just there for extra security if I need it, and there's no expense after buying it. Again, it mounted very simply. Just screw the mounting plate onto it with the light unit and motion sensor. They're all together in one section there, and then you can't see it again in the dark, but it's over there on the other side around the corner here. Is the solar panel, and it's just a wire that runs from one to the other. And I just put it over on the other side there so it would face due south, get the maximum amount of sun, so it would stay charged. I've never used this all night long, so I don't know how many hours worth of light I get out of it, but it's here to do the job too. So that's just a secondary way to add some extra light that's cheap and easy if you need it out on the farm. With the LED technology and the solar technology nowadays, you can do a whole lot more than we could even 10 years ago. As far as lighting things up, you don't need to be stringing electrical lines and circuits and bury cables and the whole thing. And yet this gives me adequate light here. It's about as bright here as those I just showed you at the barn. You can kind of maybe make out in the dark there just the top of my loader that's not on the tractor yet, that's been sitting here. So, and I can see if there was an animal here within, oh, maybe 30 feet of me, I could see it because the amount of light this thing puts out. So just another option for you if you need some extra lighting someplace that you don't have electricity. a simple solution to provide that for you. So these two LED products are worth the investment, I think, and they solve practical problems for you for light at night out in the country. So thank you for listening. Please subscribe to our channel.